Return to Us, a Fire Emblem fanfiction by Robin, Queen of Ylisse, Chapter 4, Pastime.
What is it, brother?
Lissa asked with a loud yawn, wiping her eyes in a drowsy daze as she looked up at Chrom. Sorry to waken you. It's just... something's amiss. What's your definition on something? I don't know, but I'm going to take a look around. Lissa lazily rose to her feet, grabbing a hold of her staff which lay beside her. Well, not alone. You're not. I'm coming with you. The two siblings shared a quick smile as Chrom thanked Lissa for the company before the two walked cautiously into the forest. Well, my first observation is that it's dark, Lissa grumbled as she stumbled over a large root. My second is that it's quiet, almost too quiet. Where have the birds all gone? Something feels wrong, Chrom muttered to himself as the ground beneath them began to shake. Chrom? Stay close to me, Lissa. I don't know if it may get any... The Lord began as the ground behind them erupted upward towards the sky. Lissa screamed in fright, and Chrom ordered her to run, a command the girl had no trouble following. The two fled as the ground behind them shattered, fire spewing wildly into the air. Come on, this way! Chrom shouted as he navigated through the spreading fires. Lissa close beside him. It wasn't long until they came free of the beginning inferno, and Chrom glared back into the scarlet light, gasping to catch his breath. Chrom? What is that? Lissa shouted, and Chrom watched with wide eyes as a bright white light illuminated the night sky. Patterns and shapes you could make nothing of seemed to form within the light as a bright blue flash appeared in its center. Pulses ran through the blue light as though it were water, and the two watched in horror as strange human-shaped things tumbled down to the ground below, unworldly sounds escaping their lips as they rose to their feet. Chrom tightly gripped Falkion as the creatures turned towards them with red glowing eyes, bright steel flashing in their hands. Lissa, get back! Chrom commanded as he drew the legendary sword from its place at his side. The nearest of the creatures howled, a sound unlike any the Lord had ever heard before as it waved an axe high above its head. Chrom stepped forward, bringing Falkion across the creature's body, a clean hit. Yet he did not hear it fall, and turned around only to find an axe being swung at him. He was quick to bring Falkion in the way, catching the axe before its edge could reach him. Shoving forward, he drove the creature to the ground, and with a wave of his sword brought it down with all his might, impaling the creature as it howled once more, its body dissolving into the shadows around it. A scream caught Chrom's attention as he turned to find Lissa cornered by another of the creatures. She held her staff before her in a vain attempt to protect herself against the axe. Beside Chrom, he heard the thud as another figure landed to the ground, but his attention was on Lissa as he helplessly realized he was too far away. The clash of steel rang through the air, and Chrom found himself stunned as a figure clothed in blue seeming appeared out of nowhere, bringing a familiar metallic flash before the attack. Chrom stood still in surprise as the figure blocked the attack, their sword holding the axe away from his sister. His eyes lay transfixed upon the weapon they carried, as his mind attempted to understand what had happened. The swordsman struggled against the weight of the axe, seemingly unable to move and calling out, "Help!" The word shook Chrom back into reality as he lunged forward, yelling as he brought Falkion in a massive arc. The strange creature appeared distracted by his shout, giving the figure beneath enough room to push the axe from their blade, joining Chrom as both swordsmen drove their weapons through the creature with emitted a final howl as its body dissolved into nothing. Both Chrom and the swordsman stepped back, the figure looking away from the two as they returned the weapon to its sheath. That was quite the entrance you made there, Chrom said as he strode behind the mysterious figure. What's your name? The figure turned slightly, revealing a mask that they wore to hide their face. You may call me Marth, the figure muttered at last, surprising Chrom as he knew the history of that name. Chrom began to open his mouth to question this Marth person further, but a voice cut him off. "My lord, my lady, are either of you hurt?" Frederick's voice called out, and as Lissa and Chrom turned to find the other two members of their party rushing towards them, the masked figure disappeared into the shadows without a sound. No harm has been done, thanks to... Crom began, turning around only to find that no one was there. Hey, where did he go? Currently, my lord, I fear we have bigger issues to attend to. Yes, I agree, Crom said, turning to see Robin as she gazed wide-eyed at the approaching creatures, her eyes reflecting the crimson glow of the fire. What are those things? She muttered more to herself than to anyone else. As Crom stepped closer, he could see a strange mixture of emotions in her eyes, as she displayed fear, curiosity, and what seemed like a hint of recognition. Crom reached out, gently tapping Robin on the shoulder, breaking her from her trance. Well, got a plan by any chance? Robin's strategy was working like a charm, and the four of them had successfully broken through the first of the monsters that blocked their path. Crom reflected upon how Robin seemed to become a completely different person on the battlefield as she ordered the small group. The level-headed tactician demonstrating a confidence she seemed to lack in her normal speech. Captain Crom, hold on! I am coming! A strong, familiar female voice cut through the air, drawing the attention of the small group. A mounted cavalier clad in red armor rode into view. Beside her, another figure trailed close behind, a man who wore the attire of a noble gentleman, with a bow and quiver slung across his back. Alright, which one of your ash-faced freaks wants to try my lance first? I've even got just this spot for it too, as far up your... Hold, my lady, the figure beside the cavalier called out, gaining a quizzical look from the mounted warrior who appeared to have been clueless to the other's presence. Why must a beauty such as you march to war? Nay, you need wage only love. What the hell are you? Aha! The lady is intrigued, as it's only natural. I am myth and legends. I am he who strides across history's greatest stage. My name, dear lady, is Can it, Ruffles? I have no time for this. The woman answered harshly as she prepared once more to charge forward. Virion, my name is Virion. The man stammered before straightening himself out and stumbling forward to catch up as the woman's horse began to move on. Wait, where are you going? Pray, at least let me hear your name. Sully, the woman answered, cautiously eyeing Virion. How divine! A name crafted with a beauty to befit its owner. Please, oh dearest Sully, will you take mine hand in marriage? Will I what now? Oh, I get it. This is a joke. And when I put my boot in your face, that'll be the punchline. I understand that my noble and manly figure might come off as overbearing, but I assure you there is... Crom winced as Sully drove her armored boot into the man's face, who fell back before stumbling to the ground. How's that for an answer? She exclaimed triumphantly as Virion struggled to recover his footing. Goodness, that's quite a kick, he grunted, rising to his feet. Despite the obvious message, Crom was amazed when the man continued to follow Sully, calling out to the shepherd once more. Please, my lady, at least allow me to accompany you, lest my world turn cold and empty. Fine, Sully exclaimed angrily. Anything till you shut up. Crom was so distracted by the odd conversation that he nearly jumped when he felt Robin's hand poke at his arm before asking, "Friends of yours?" The cavalier is a fellow shepherd by the name of Sully. However, I know not who this other fellow is. Well, whoever he is, he seems quite determined, she observed, before her attention was taken by a small group of the strange creatures that had begun moving towards them. It is welcoming to find a friendly face out here, Crom said, turning to Sully after dispatching the last of unworldly creatures. I am simply relieved to find you unscathed, Captain, she answered, jumping down from the back of her horse. In my haste, I left behind a few of the others, and picked up this character, says his name is Virion, she continued, gesturing towards the man who was straightening the cuffs and cravat of his shirt before chuckling at something Robin had said. I see you have also made a new friend. Yes, I would like to introduce you to Robin, the newest member of the Shepherds, Crom answered, gesturing towards Robin as she scolded Virion, who sported a guilty smile. Sully turned around as she took the tactician's measure before smiling and saying, "And quite the strategist from what I could tell, giving clear directions despite all the chaos, a trait well worthy of praise." Crom smiled along with her, but before he could voice an agreement, Frederick walked up to the two, giving a slight bow before speaking. "It seems our misfortunes extend far beyond that of just bandits. We must return to Ylisse with ever more haste." "Yes, I agree," Crom said as Sully remounted her horse beside him. Frederick and Crom both turned to see as Ylisse had begun laughing along with Robin as the tactician teased at the now red-faced archer. "Still don't trust? Even after getting us through all of that?" The knight stammered slightly, caught off guard by the question. Frederick coughed, straightening his posture before turning to the Lord, saying, "2 battles amounts too little as to provide a clean record, and as I said before, I advise you exercise caution in her presence." Crom could only sigh as the knight moved up to break up the trio, informing them that it was time to move on. "So this is Ylisse," Robin muttered in quiet amazement as her eyes took in the sights around her. "I've never seen so many people in one place." Crom couldn't hold back the light smile that crossed his face as he saw the excitement in the tactician's eyes. She seemed almost like a child, taking in everything she saw with a wondrous curiosity. "Look!" a villager spoke out amongst the gathered crowd. "It is the Exalt!" All eyes turned as a woman strode out amongst them with a welcoming smile on her face. She was clad in a long green and white dress, a long golden staff in her hands, and a golden neckpiece with a matching headpiece that lay atop her pale blonde hair. "The Exalt. She is awfully pretty, whoever she is," Robin observed as she gazed at the figure who spoke amongst the people in the crowd around her. "The Exalt is the highest power in all of Ylisse, and that there is Lady Emerin, a symbol of peace and hope for all of Ylisse," Frederick said from behind the amazed tactician. "She's also the greatest big sister in the entire world!" Ylisse exclaimed joyously, throwing her arms out above her. "I would imagine that she... Wait, big sister?" Robin stammered, the realization crossing over her expression as she turned to face Ylisse a good look of panicked confusion. "But if she's your sister and the Exalt, then that would make you and Crom..." "Yllissian royalty," Crom passively stated, a relaxed smile on his face as the tactician's eyes widened. Crom, I mean, Prince Crom, your majesty, Robin stammered as she attempted a clumsy bow, but was stopped as Crom grabbed a hold of her shoulder. "You needn't act in such a manner, and just Crom will suffice. I never was one for such formalities." He smiled as Robin quickly straightened herself out, her face flushed with embarrassment. I thought you were shepherds," she said nervously, earning a bout of laughter from the rest of the small group. "But we are shepherds," Ylisse grinned. You know exactly what I mean," Robin glowered as she eyed Ylisse, who put a hand over her mouth as she giggled. Crom stepped up beside Robin, putting a comforting hand on her shoulder, giving her a warm-hearted smile. She looked up at him for a moment before returning him a shy smile. In the distance, the Exalt had begun walking back towards the large palace that lay in the distance, and Frederick ushered the group on. "Come on, let me introduce you to my sister," Crom said with a smile, slipping Robin's slender hand into his own. She looked up at him with a flash of surprise and hesitated for a quick moment before a smile returned to her face, allowing Crom to pull her beyond the gates of the palace grounds.